What's up, everyone? So I'm just going to go over like Sentient's new agentic pipeline in this video, and I want to talk to you about like what our plan is for implementing this and stuff, and how it might look in the app. So this is a screen recording of an older version of the app, which was an internal testing version, and here we actually managed to implement like email sending via Gmail with the Sentient's agentic integration. So this was just one integration that we implemented for testing. So you can see it says like, can you send an email to blah 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 with a summary of our conversation? And then if you go ahead, you can see the normal OAuth flow goes through, and then once you do that, the email gets sent as requested. It says tools were used to generate this message, and then you can see in my inbox here that this was the actual message sent. This pipeline is based off of just simple prompt engineering. I just told the model that this specific JSON schema is to be followed for tool calls. This is fine if you have only like 2 or 3 tools max to call. But when it comes to Sentient, our eventual goal is that the integrations can be expanded to like hundreds, maybe thousands of apps, and each app will have like multiple app specific actions. So we're not going to be able to just load one single model's context with all of that information. So if you're talking about this smaller 3 billion Llama model that we're using right now in the app, it's going to be a lot of context overload for that model, and it just starts hallucinating and goes crazy. When I realized that this is going to happen, I have decided to come up with this new pipeline for agents. So this is a little diagram I've drawn up to show you what the new pipeline can look like. Now in this new pipeline, this chat endpoint is going to become an orchestrator. So basically what the orchestrator is going to do is it's going to follow this specific JSON schema, and this JSON schema will allow it to like respond to the user with messages or with tool calls. And where will these tool calls go? So right now in the backend we have like several prompts set up. So now we're going to expand that a little bit. The prompt template for the orchestrator agent will have this JSON schema in it, which will tell it exactly what it's supposed to do and what its responses should look like. And then along with the chat endpoint orchestrator agent, we're going to have multiple tool agents set up. There'll be multiple of these agents that will be available on their own individual endpoints, and each agent will have its own prompt template and system prompt. So for example, with the Gmail tool agent, it will have access to functions that can send emails, read your inbox, create a draft email for something, and so on. Then the other second tool agent would have, for example, if it was for Google Calendar, it would have a function that could retrieve something from your calendar, that could set a reminder, and so on. And all of them will be independent of each other, so there won't be any possibility for hallucinations or anything like that. So now that you've understood what this architecture looks like, I'll just give you a small example of how this could work. Let's consider the same scenario as before, where the user wants to use Sentient to send an email. So they'll send a message as before. They'll say, oh, I want to send an email to XYZ email address for so and so, and you can come up with the message on your own. So the user's query will be forwarded to the orchestrator agent. The orchestrator agent will have a list of the tool agents that it can access. So in this case, now that we want to send an email using Gmail, the orchestrator agent will respond with a tool call, which will go back to the Sentient app. And here the Sentient app will destructure the JSON response that it receives, which will be in this format. And that response will contain the tool name, the endpoint where the tool exists, which will be something like /tool/Gmail, and the parameters that will be required. And the parameters that this Gmail tool agent will require will be sent here to the Electron app first. Then the Electron app will see that this message type is a tool call and it needs to call the specific endpoint. So it will make a call to that endpoint. Then this agent will have access to only Gmail specific actions. So it will understand that the task is to send an email, and it will have the parameters as well that it requires. So it will generate the JSON response, which will be the actual tool call. And that JSON response will be like parsed by a JSON parser, and then the tool call will be executed, the email will be sent. Then the Gmail agent will respond with the tool result. So if the email was sent successfully, it will respond with email sent successfully, and that will go back to the Electron app. So when the Electron app receives a response from the tool agent, it will resolve that response and it will send that response back to the orchestrator. And the orchestrator will then understand that the tool task has been completed. Then the orchestrator agent will respond with a message finally. That message will be sent here, and then it will go back to the Electron app. And then from there, the message returned by Sentient will be visible to the user. The advantage of this is that we can expand this to how many ever tools we want, as long as we don't exceed the context length of this agent here. But even if we start doing that, we can have like a dynamic retrieval system where the agent will have only one tool call, which will allow it to search in amongst a list of agentic tools. But that's like something for the future. As of now, for G Suite alone, this will be more than enough. And then each agent will handle as specific functions, so there'll be no chance for hallucinations between different tools or like confusion between different tools. The next advantage is that we can also do multi-step agentic integrations here. So this reflection mechanism that I've designed here can allow us to create multi-step agentic interactions. So for example, if you want Sentient to send an email after checking your Google Calendar first for some specific information, so the orchestrator agent can first respond with a tool call for Google Calendar. That tool call will go here, it will call Google Calendar. So the tool result from Google Calendar will contain the required information, which will be sent back to the app. Then that tool result can be sent here. Then the orchestrator agent can use that information from Google Calendar to send the next tool call, which will be for Gmail. Then that will go back to the app, and then the same process as before. And then finally, the message will be sent back to the user. And that's how a multi-step interaction can work in this new pipeline. So yeah, that's what I've designed so far, and I would love to hear your thoughts about this entire pipeline.